Good afternoon. We are live. My name is Jasmine Saliga. I am your host of Industry Chats by Affixify. I'm also the founder and CEO of Affixify, and welcome to our Wednesday episode. We are so excited and honored to welcome Rohit Khanna today to give us the lay of the land on AI. I am going to let Rohit introduce himself, but I want to say something. He and I spoke. So we met through LinkedIn, this wonderful platform that many of us connect on. When he and I had a conversation, I left thinking, I have never talked to someone that understands AI like he does. And that's saying something because Affixify's entire job for our industry is learning about technology and helping to vet technology. There's so much we get to learn today. So I'm super honored, especially Rohit, with all you have going on, that you've joined me. And would you just give us a quick intro on who you are and all the amazing things you're involved in?
Hi, thank you, Jasmine, and thanks for having me. And good afternoon, everybody. And basically, I've been in travel and hospitality all my life. I've dealt with every aspect of hospitality. I will just throw something that will shock everybody that I started my career as a chef, and I was at the age of 21. I was the youngest chef for a fine dining restaurant in a five-star hotel in New Delhi. But my journey has been always about challenging the status quo and learning and evolving. And as in the last couple of years, I've grown as an AI enthusiast, futurist, and just been building on. It's just so exciting what's going on. I was just talking to Jasmine that how it's such an exciting phase of our lifetime, as well as scary at the same time. So it's fun, and there are parts of it that kind of keep you awake at night, like what will happen. So, but here I am, and looking forward to the conversation.
I love it. Yes, there's so much to unpack. When you and I first spoke, and I just told you, you had that was I think when the popular little action figures were, everybody was putting their picture in for an action figure to chat GPT. I did it. And then you and I talked about kind of the dirty side of that, how it can really actually, they can now own your face and all these crazy things. So it's very good to have someone that understands, you're here to share with us kind of in 30 minutes. I don't know if we can do it in 30 minutes, but kind of the depth of AI. And there's a lot of ways we can take this. So what I thought we would do today, I wanted to have you start a little bit talking about how it can be a good thing, a force multiplier, as you called it, for people. So, there's all these things, these tasks in our industry that are difficult, and they can be handled by AI. So kick us off with that. Like, tell us a little bit about how this can be a force multiplier for people.
See, AI is referred as artificial intelligence, but there are multiple people define it differently, and it's augmented intelligence as well. We have
Yeah.
to think of AI as a thinking partner, or as a partner and as a thought leader along with us, which can enhance what we do. AI is not here to replace us. Hospitality specifically is such a people business. The technology is only here to amplify what we do, not to replace us. It's By the end of the day, we still have to do what we do best, is connect, create memorable experiences, lead with
Mhm.
empathy and purpose. But having said that, we have to really understand what AI is all about and how we can use it. So education about AI becomes really, really important. And
Right.
then to identify what task or what are the things that I should focus on solving with AI. And we define it. I recently was talking to a colleague on LinkedIn, and she defined it very eloquently. We should take on tasks that are dangerous, dull, dirty, or difficult, freeing a team time on focus on creativity, problem solving, and building relationships.
Yeah.
When we automate these repetitive tasks, we give people more time to deliver those personal experiences that set us apart.
Hmm. So yeah, so what you're saying, I think is so important, because you're saying, let's take those dangerous, dull, dirty, difficult tasks. Let's put those on the machine and let's let our people do what they do best, being creative and solving problems, creating relationships. So I think you're addressing something that's been a fear. A fear in our industry is, will AI take my job? What you're saying is, no, it should actually enhance your job.
It's an enhancement to, instead of asking AI to do your job, we have to look at it this way. Um, so let's say I use an example. I say, help me write this email. Instead of doing that, think about it this way. You write an email, whether, for example, if it's a sales manager and following a lead, and ask AI, after you've written the email, what am I missing? What can I do to enhance the email in order to close this lead? That
Wow.
is how you need to think about AI, not to do your job for you. You still got to do the thinking. You got to still got to be human. The recent quote or some one of the sayings that I came up with the multiple conversations that I have during AI, that perfection will become boring. Imperfection will become the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
When everything is optimized, raw and real is what is going to turn heads. So it's a balance in between
Yeah.
everything of what we do, how we do it, and how we utilize this AI as a partner. Like, and instead of waiting around, like, okay, let me wait for this answer, I can ask, but I still use my cognitive thinking in order to enhance and deliver. And
Yeah.
especially in hospitality, authenticity is key. That's what sets us apart.
Well, I think what you said is very, very important because I have, before I started Affixify, I always had a sales background. And I remember being so nervous to ever send an email with a typo or ever. And now I actually like, I don't mind if I see that because I'm like, well, I literally think to myself, at least they know I didn't just use ChatGPT to write their email. It's like you almost are now proving that you're real. And I think that's such an interesting shift because it used to not be that way. And now it's kind of like you almost do have to set yourself apart a little bit. But I love what you said about prompting it to make this better versus just saying, write me an email and then copy paste. And that can become very obvious, I think, when you're on the receiving end of those types of messages.
See, I use it personally. Like, this morning when I went for my workout, I have my headphones and I'm using it. Like, I bring up a topic like I'm working on, and then I say, quiz me on it. Let's discuss this, and let's
Wow.
quiz me on it, and then we have an actual conversation about the whole topic. And we would I don't want to, like, I was talking about RAG, which is retrieval generative augmentation, which goes really further. And I was arguing with ChatGPT that creating GPTs is sort of a RAG if I enable the browser. And it was like very clearly, it came up and said, like, yes, you're right. In a way, this is a RAG. So that's where we have to use AI as our partner, that you help us become a better um, person on something that we are struggling with.
Yeah.
I use it. I still, there are, every day there is so much evolution happening. Like, I have tasks set up, so instead of spending time, because what we will realize, and what I'm personally realizing, time, not the data, will become the most precious currency.
Yes.
So I have personally, like, have multiple platforms. I have a different tech stack that I use in order to optimize my day. And one of them I use is by putting task on ChatGPT, where it gives me the luxury headline, travel headlines news, like hospitality news, AI news in the evening, and every morning 8 o'clock it gives me my workout routine, which I can access on my phone, and it's varied. It already knows what I'm looking to do, how I'm looking to work out. So every day there is a different challenge.
Yeah.
So using those things in order to better optimize, instead of me going out and looking at each and every magazine and every newspaper, what's happening in the luxury hospitality world, I can
Yeah.
simply go and look at that, and it gives me all the headlines, and then I can mark it and go back and read it once I have the time. I'm not digging for that information. So
Yeah.
it's basically making my life, giving me more time to do things that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, I think that's so good. Well, and I like your idea of like more conversing, having it quiz you. I'm thinking I should do that for my kids whenever we're studying for their tests at school, have it quiz them. But no, I think that's a really interesting point. And honestly, this kind of bleeds into the next point of like personalization and trust because we need to, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, harness the ability for AI to help us personalize, but we also have to maintain trust. And so, in the use case of hospitality, right, you're talking about personalizing guest experiences and but also having secure data. How do you talk about personalization and trust when it comes to AI in hospitality?
So I have a very unique perspective because as much as I love technology, I put humans on a pedestal because without our people delivering that hospitality, you can't achieve anything. AI
Yeah.
is only an enabler. In my A couple of months ago, I spoke at a gathering here in New York, and we were talking about personalization and everything. And there, one of the things that kind of triggered was that yes, you use the technology for hyper personalization. It has become a very key word. Oh, everything is hyper personalized. But that hyper personalization is coming from your digital imprint on the internet.
Mm.
In reality, what Jasmine likes is going to be more visible to the server that is serving her at the restaurant. So, how that server is incentivized to take that notification that, hey, Jasmine likes sparkling water, hypothetically. So, making that notification and noting that in the profile. So, every time that she goes, oh, Jasmine does not like fish, for example. I'm using hypothetical examples. it, yes, so once that person takes that and puts it in the system automatically is talking and creating a profile that is much more personalized, amplified with technology, and creating much more humanized experience. So it's not just the hyper personalization,
Yeah.
what I or Google about Jasmine or what AI can tell me about Jasmine, but be using the element of
Mm.
the human to augment and create much more hyper personalized information. And on the other side, that is there is which is something that keeps me awake at night. Like recently in the news, everybody must have heard that there were like 16 billion passwords that were leaked from Meta, Apple, Google. So, our digital privacy, our digital security, and the responsible use of AI has become really paramount. So, how we are
Yeah.
dealing with with the workforce and the guest data, trust is becoming the most important or the currency in hospitality. Hence,
Yeah.
the responsible adoption of AI and protecting privacy and building confidence at every step of the way is the key to success. So that's
Yeah.
what I would say.
Absolutely. I think the
Go ahead.
yes, trust is paramount, and I think at any stage of technological evolution, just in our world, right, we struggle and grapple with trust, and then we kind of move on, right? So, like, I remember seeing the story, a news story from like maybe the 90s, where people couldn't believe that people were paying for their fast food with a credit card. They thought that's the craziest thing ever. You know, it's kind of like and now we do credit card for literally everything, and we're more and more a cashless society. When the internet came out, no one even understood or knew, like, is this trustworthy? And there's news articles we see now that they had written, this won't last, this won't be a thing, and here we are. So I wonder how the trust and the hesitancy around AI will kind of evolve and grow, and how we'll get more comfortable with it. I saw Ed St. Onge, who's the CEO and founder of Flip2. He posted on LinkedIn, I've never seen so much hype around anything as I've seen around AI. And I think it is a very big question mark of, we want to use it for all these things, but we do need to keep kind of the security aspect paramount. And so I'm sure you're diving into that all the time. You said it keeps you up at night. You know, do you find that any of your consulting clients or people are coming to you asking for tips or your thoughts on it, or how are you approaching that?
I just recently had a client yesterday, and one of the things that he said to me was that you've given me a lot to think about. The things that I was not thinking about, that how it's affecting me, how it's changing the way we think, how we need to create a culture of experimentation, even with safeguards in place, because
Yeah.
you're dealing with sensitive data, you're dealing with client information or colleague information. So, how you put the guardrails in place. So, it was basically like a pause. And then it was like, we need to reconvene this conversation because I need time to digest. The scary, or the crazy, or the scary, or I don't know what's the right term, the evolution of this technology is happening so fast
Yeah.
that in the history of humankind, we haven't seen the adoption rates at such a fast pace. And
Yeah.
every day you wake up and you have, if you're really into it, you're like, okay. So right now, just before we came on, I don't know if people know Perplexity. They announced their premium browser for it's going to be expensive. I think it's $250 plus. The CEO just made the announcement, and that is a game changer because it's your personalized agent. And I still have to read up on it because it literally just came out. So the reason why I brought it up is just to show that what pace this technology is developing. Just to give you another crazy example, a real life. In the Middle East, they paid, I think it was Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not in sports, so pardon me. They paid $600 million for him to come and join one of the sports team. Okay, Meta just paid for one of their AI super intelligence team $800 million for one person to come join their team. They just have taken people over hundreds and millions of dollars from OpenAI, from Anthropic, from Apple. They just told somebody from Apple over hundreds and millions of dollars. This is just so these numbers are breaking even for the sports personalities that ever have been paid. So you can imagine how at what rate this technology is developing, and that's the reason I focus on AI education or literacy, that how we can educate ourselves. I shared with you, I think, if not, I'll be more than happy to share it, that how to talk about AI with kids.
Yeah.
Google just released a new platform completely focused on kids and AI education.
My
And
goodness.
OpenAI is having roundtable conferences from this week, beginning of this week, how they're going to redefine education. And in the era where, how do you keep the mind developing, where a kid can just go and have an essay be written by OpenAI without knowing that OpenAI is leaving behind a signature, a secret mark that naked eye cannot see, but the plagiarism detectors can see that you copied it from OpenAI.
Yes. Yes. That is so interesting. Well, and I mean, this is a totally different branch of this conversation we don't have to go too deep into, but we've noticed as a team, so right, like we will use ChatGPT to help produce content for our company pages. And anytime in the past, we had tried creating a post through ChatGPT, the performance of that post was terrible. So now we don't. We just kind of like it gives us ideas and we do our own because the authenticity, I guess, is not there. So something it's got to recognize it on LinkedIn, and we use Instagram because we noticed that anytime it was a chat GPT like copy and paste, our results were terrible. But if we're actually going in and typing up that post, we're good. We get great impressions. So I'm assuming that's a thing.
Well, it is a big thing because see, the world around us is completely overwhelmed by the content. Everybody is creating content. So that's again, it goes back to the same thing, that how do you build trust with your content? How do you keep your authenticity and originality? I'm a Perplexity business fellow, and we had this huge discussion about LinkedIn and how to make our post go viral and everything. And one of the things that made me think or make ponder on was that if these algorithms and all these strategies are working, then everybody on LinkedIn will be getting their post will be going viral. Then what will
Yeah.
make us stand apart? So that's where originality, the original thought, And that's the reason I said imperfection and your vulnerabilities are going to be the hardest thing ever, because that
Yeah.
is what's going to make you stand apart.
I love it. And this is so helpful. And just kind of, our last point here, and this, it always amazes me how quickly this show goes, but we had also kind of talked about when we were planning for your appearance on the show, like the discipline and purposeful adoption is what you called it. So how do we, as professionals or in our own personal lives, start with adoption? How do we do that in a way that's wise, prioritized? What would you tell the audience there? Because I think we all have this question mark on how do we adopt AI for our businesses, for our hotels, for our technology stack. Like, I'm curious what you would advise us to do.
So it goes back onto the same thing that I just said before: cultivate a culture of experimentation. Start small, focus on areas that will really make an impact, and see what is scaling and what is working, and then taking it up from there. Don't try to make like you're going to overhaul everything at the same time. So in essence,
Yeah.
it's basically it's going back to the roots, what we have learned: baby steps. Don't try to run, crawl, then start walking, and then you will eventually come to the point where you can run with it. It's all
Yes.
about making room and prioritizing AI with what matters most, so the teams don't burn out. And because by the end of the day, in hospitality, what we do, guest always comes first.
Yeah.
So in the past, there was an AI skiff. Skiff had an AI summit, and in which the chief technology officer of Marriott, Naveen, highlighted that what is they took a task that is assigning rooms every day is the most, like, the manager in the morning or the assistant front office manager is sitting and glued to the desk like this, and doing the room assignment. That was the one of the first thing that Marriott took, for not just for their hotel, for their colleagues and the franchisees, to automate, that all they have to do is now click, and it'll go through. The AI has been designed in a way that will go through, and then all the manager has to do is supervise and see that if there is any mistake or anything else, and still giving the power to the management to override that if anything happens, if there
Mm.
is a mistake. So something that was taking 3 or 4 hours every morning for the team, it just has been taken away from them. So, what does it give them time for? To interact with their guests when they're leaving, and not be buried like this. They can actually be like, "Thank you for staying with us, Miss Jasmine. We'll look forward to seeing you again," rather than glued to their desk and looking at the numbers and what they need to do, because they need to finish, because they have their checklist of things that they need to do. So
Yeah.
that's how I would say, um, AI is not about going faster for the sake of speed. It's
Yeah.
about going further and together.
Mhm. I checked into a hotel for a family vacation last month with my young kids, my husband, and I always do the travel planning naturally because I'm in hospitality. And I looked, and on the front desk, this sweet front desk agent was so kind, and she had a list. I mean, it was a whole page of her daily opera checklist, everything she had to do every day in the PMS. And I thought to myself, that has got to go for there's got to be a better way for this poor front desk agent, because she was really busy, and she gave great service, but I thought, man, I wonder how much of that should be automated. I didn't read the whole list, by the way, but I think, to your point, adoption in a way that's smart, and it prioritizes what's important. This has been just phenomenal, and I love all of your insights. You present AI in a way that makes us to understand it. I know you have a much deeper knowledge than you're even able to share here, but if we have any of our viewers that would want to get in touch with you, talk to you more, learn more, where is the best place for them to contact you?
I think it'll be the same place where you and I met, LinkedIn. Uh,
LinkedIn.
very active on LinkedIn. I don't have a like an automation where I'm very authentic, and I connect with people on a regular basis. And if anybody needs to reach out to me, that will be the best place.
Wonderful. Well, we are so grateful for your time today. Thank you for joining us, Rohit. It was lovely. And for those that are watching now and want to share this episode with someone else, we will have it on YouTube very soon so that you can access this at any time. And we will be back in a couple of weeks with our next episode. Thank you, Rohit. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.